welcome to the next episode of Soulmate Podcast. I think this may be episode 10. Actually, I always lose track. Yeah. And today we have a very special guest. We have Avery Baxter, who has joined Soulmate in this New York extension to play Chloe. And welcome, Avery.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
I'm
welcome.
very happy to be here.
Nice. And it's a very kind of important time right now because we are in our last week of performance here in New York. This is actually our second to last performance evening. And Avery and I were just talking about how incredibly fast this month has gone. We only cast Avery, at the beginning of the month, and we've had 9 shows, or we will have had 9 shows by the end of the run. Usually a show is about 8 shows, but the thing is that we had to reschedule and show from the first run that was canceled because there was actually a fire in the theater. I don't know if we ever talked about that, but that was crazy. Did you hear about that?
I heard about it on my first day.
Yeah. And luckily, no one was hurt. Everyone was fine, and they've kind of rebuilt and redid whatever happened. An actual old air conditioning unit set on, was on fire. But it's funny because there's a whole thing about like fire in a crowded theater, and they're like, when does that ever happen? And it actually happened. The whole theater was full of people for this show, Pinkalicious, that happens on Sunday mornings.
Oh
and so,
gosh.
yeah, it was like a bunch of kids, and yeah, so.
It happened in the mezzanine, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But in any case, so I want to say that when we did start the extension, it was a really big challenge because we only had a little bit of time to recast a couple key parts. And the character of Chloe that Avery took on is a very important character, not just for me, but kind of for the story. It's a very personal character that was played previously by Jackson Ivy Jane in the New York run. Jackson also was kind of instrumental in the creation of Soulmate. She was really one of the first people I ever told about even the idea of Soulmate way back in the summer, which is way back. It's only, it would be still less than a year ago today that I thought that of even like this first inkling of this. So what was really amazing about that process is that we had maybe 100 people show up for the audition. And they were all incredible. It was actually an incredible group of people as well. I was so impressed by everyone that came. But when we saw Avery up there, like the moment she gave her monologue, I'm like, okay, that's who we want. and George agreed. Actually, he was sitting next to me. And then later on, I talked to Shannon. She agreed as well. And so I'm like, well, I just hope that she takes it. And but it was really cool because that's kind of how it's been with this whole casting process. Yeah. For most of the roles, I feel like when we see you, it's like that's it, And it's fascinating because it's. So many people come, and I know from your perspective. You can tell us from your perspective. Like, what was that day like? What were your expectations? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so that was actually my first ever in-person audition.
Really? Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I got there. I had to line up outside, which was intimidating. And then I got downstairs, and they kind of put us into groups of I think 10. And I was in the second group to go up, and when I got up there, I realized they were putting us all on the stage in like a line, which I was shocked by.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
I didn't know that that's what was going to happen. It felt very much like a chorus line where you just step out, say your name, monologue, step back, and then the next person. And luckily I was second, so I only went after one person, so I wasn't as nervous. And I do remember that my monologue that I chose was bold. It was very. Can I curse in this?
Yes, of course.
I probably said fuck in that monologue like 20 times, and I think a lot of the other people in my group, their monologues were very sad or like serious, like, oh, my mom died and I have anxiety, and then mine was like, someone tried to fuck me without a condom and this is that, and I was like, shit, did I like do something wrong? And then 4 hours later, Doug called me, and I was like, oh, yay, I did something right. Yeah.
I do have to say that your choice of a monologue actually did help. Meaning that I think just kind of the nature of our play and the nature of us. Do you remember the monologue, Shannon?
I do, and I think that because of just how weird Doug and I are, and also just because of the role that we needed to fill for Chloe, it's like she's very I feel like that was a very Chloe monologue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like
So-
she is bold. Like she will say whatever is on her mind, and yeah. Now that's actually a good question then, because I've been wanting to ask you this, so I've been waiting for this moment to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Like what led you to choose that monologue, and did it have anything to do with the brief description you read about the play? I mean, did you hear anything else about it? But anything about that? Yeah.
Kind of. I went through the show's Instagram, and on the Instagram I could tell that it was very sex positive.
Okay.
So I was like, I have a monologue in my book that's, about sex, and it's a minute, so that's perfect. Like, it just fits in, and I'll try that. And I remember the first time I ever did that monologue was when I was at school at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I did it for like a mock agent interview. And I remember my teacher telling me, that's a really risky monologue. You probably should never use that in an audition.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
he said that to me.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, okay, I guess I won't. And then, bam, first time I do, it worked out.
Can you still write to that person and say, oh, well, the first audition I ever did, I
honestly,
used it.
I should,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll send him an email tonight. Let him
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
But I feel like, I don't know, like Shannon, I don't know if you remember, but that it almost set the tone a little bit for, I don't know, I mean, other people had bold monologues too, in some respects, whether they did swear or they did go to a darker place. And that drew me in more. I don't know, like I was more paying attention to those. And I don't know if it's because Avery kind of broke the ice with it, or do you remember that?
I do remember that after that, like, there were some, very bold, wacky or sexual kind of monologues that came afterwards. And that kind of helps a lot too, just, I think because of the way that our play and that we are so sex positive, like, it made it feel like, okay, these people doing these monologues, like, might be easier to connect with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the other, like, really amazing surprise coming out of the recasting, is that we got George, who was featured on our last podcast, and we got Avery, and it just felt like two, like, people and spirits that, like, we just connected with so immediately and so naturally and so organically, and it just, like, it was such a gift, to be honest, because I don't know, like, it's and Shannon and I have talked about this before, but I mean, us being not really theater people, or not not as experienced in theater, it's like this is all, and the story being so personal to the both of us. I mean, this is like real. This is like our lives right now. So it's not just like, for us, it's not just being cast in a play. It's like, we're about to experience this next chapter of life together. And so with that comes a lot of, like, whether it's appropriate or not, like a lot of emotional, I don't know, how would you express it?
I guess I would express it like the vulnerability of like, like, it is such a personal piece of art that Doug wrote, and it is very much like every line is like something him or I have said. Yeah. And so to let, to cast people and to let them in and to let them know us in that way and to let them perform that, it's like takes just a huge amount of trust. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it really does feel like it's a gift, to find people that we really genuinely connect with. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you feel, like, hearing that? Meaning, like, is that, I mean, maybe you know this from our experience, but I mean, what was your experience coming into this in that respect, and also with the experience you've had as an actor prior? Yeah,
I think with this show, I was nervous coming in, just because I knew that I was replacing somebody who, I guess in my head, I figured everybody really, really loved, and who had been such a big part of this as well. So I was really like, oh, I have really big shoes to fill. And but everyone was so welcoming. I mean, genuinely so welcoming. And I got to speak to both Doug and Shannon on the phone before I joined the cast, and I could tell just based on those conversations. I was like, I think I'm gonna really like them. I think that they seem like really great people, and are gonna make sure that I'm comfortable. And then I was only in rehearsal for 3 days before I debuted, but like in those.
That's right. We also move very quickly.
Yeah,
here, so
this is the quickest, I think, turnaround of anything I've ever done. So I think I debuted like a week after my audition. So it was really quick, but I loved that, actually. I think most other shows I've done, I've been in rehearsal for at least a month before opening.
Month,
yeah.
really?
So
Wow,
this was
okay.
really, it's just, I think my first performance still felt like rehearsal, which I liked. It made it very fun and fresh.
Right, right.
Yeah.
We do like that because, and it's very much the Zombie Joe aesthetic that we've adopted, where you just go really fast and you keep it very raw, because in a way too, it's like if you get too comfortable with it, then it doesn't hit as hard. It's like we want this like raw, emotional, expressive energy.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad you were up for it. And also, like, Avery has this tremendous gift of a photographic memory, which also really helps, because she has a lot of lines actually for a very for not being in the, and percentage-wise not being in that much of the play, and carries just such a pivotal moment. I mean, I don't want to ruin everything, but I mean, to come in that quickly and own it, like you really owned the character, which I think we just appreciated so much, and just made it like, I mean, Chloe's like I don't know, I mean, again, not to spoil anything, but she's like the coolest girl in the world, the prettiest girl, and so it's like
really well.
No, but I mean, it's to come in and just like say in 3 days, just like take it on and own it, and it was a really, again, such a gift to experience and to watch. And Shannon, like, I don't know, so this is your like third Chloe,
Yes.
and so I don't know, I know that every Chloe's been very different in who they are, and they brought different elements to it. I was just wondering what your experience with Avery was compared to everyone else as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that I've felt the most comfortable with Avery playing Chloe. We just have a lot of things in common, and I think that makes it feel like, I mean, I guess I would say that I've just felt very safe with that.
That's important too.
It's very important. Yeah.
Again, it's like such a vulnerable place, such a vulnerable moment in the play.
Yeah. So I think that that's like such a blessing to me, is like, yes, we've casted this new Chloe, but I also have a new friend. Yeah.
So Chloe, sorry, so Avery, I mean, now you're still in character. What you're saying, so you said that this was your first live audition, but is it not your first play?
No. I've done several other plays, but I have auditioned either virtually or I knew somebody, and it was just kind of a more informal reading.
Got it. Yeah.
So I had never done something where, I mean, I got this audition on Backstage, and I went and printed out my headshot and resume, and then I waited outside and got called in and stood in a line and did a monologue on the stage and didn't know anyone there. That was my first time having that experience.
It's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, that is amazing. I mean, I kind of love that, and I will probably ask you questions about it, because I have not done that yet either.
I've never done that.
I'm like, oh my gosh, if I printed out a resume, it would only have Soulmate on it.
That's okay. Plus you've done your own things, right?
Yeah, I've produced my own show before, which closed last December. It was called Mercury, and I loved doing that. I'd love to produce my own show again. So,
That's incredible. I also know that there's a lot of, I don't know, just because we have this synergy and we're looking to have Soulmate live on in whatever form it is, it's like, we're talking about like, maybe it could be a part of that going forward. That's really exciting. It's just all such good vibes and feelings, and just can't stress how important enough that is. But I mean, we've been feeling that with the entire cast, and from inside of the cast, I don't know, how does that feel like?
It's so everyone? True. I mean, I feel like I have really fallen in love with this cast. Like, it's been increasingly better, I would say, in my experience. I just feel so much closer with everyone than like I ever did. And that makes it so difficult. I feel like if we have to recast sometime, I'll have a very hard time doing it. I know that. I know that. I've already experienced that. But I do think that, everything is so meant to be. Like, that's how it's always felt with Soulmate, which is so crazy and so cool. Is like every person that we've connected to and that's joined on this cast, like, we have, something similar that something similar in us that is very different from other people, I think. So I think that that's cool. It's like, I think I've mentioned in other podcasts, but it's like we're meeting like our soulmates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you too, Avery. You had mentioned which was really incredible and helpful, and really came across in your character that you related to Chloe in your own way, which is interesting because I think everyone relates to their character in different ways. And the way I try to direct is not to direct a certain character as is, but to find that character within yourself and then bring them out. And so what were the things about Chloe, and what things related to you, and how did you bring them out?
I think Chloe is definitely a hopeless romantic, and I didn't really used to think of myself as that. And then she has this monologue where she's talking to her little sister, and I also have a little sister who is like my best friend, so I did relate to that part of her as well, where she says, oh, I know I told you I would never be in a relationship again after what Brian did to me, but which reminded me of like a year ago, I got out of a really bad relationship and I told all my friends, like, I'm gonna be single for a year, like at least a year, not dating. I met someone the exact same day that I broke up with my ex and like started dating him pretty immediately. And by like our 4th date, I was like, guys, he's the one. Like, this is it. I found him, I'm done dating. Didn't work out.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, I really related to her in that I was like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes you say you're never going to do something and then you meet somebody who just completely changes that, and that's kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
It's what did your little sister say about that situation?
Well, my little sister's 8, so I didn't tell her about that.
Not that exactly.
My little sister, we do talk about boys, because she's in 3rd grade, but she's dating. She has like 2 boyfriends.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She's in 3rd grade discovering polyamory. It's
wow.
crazy.
Oh my gosh.
She's really telling me every week. She's like, my boyfriend Dominic and Noel, and like, I'm like, oh my god, what?
Wow.
Yeah. So.
That's funny. When I was doing my podcast with Sean and Leo, I had this thing, and we're like, maybe we should do like Soulmate for Kids.
How would we make it for kids?
Yeah. And Sean was like, yeah, if you cut out like 98% of it, and cut out,
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, there's a way. Maybe we could, I don't know. We may have to hire your sister as a consultant.
Oh yeah, she'd be good. My little sister, she saw my show Mercury, and she was obsessed. She saw it twice, but she like memorized the whole script. I was with her last weekend, and she kept saying to me, she was just like literally reciting lines from the show that I was like, I don't even remember those. How do you know my lines better than I do? Yeah.
So she has good memory too.
She does. Yeah, I guess just from hearing, which I'm definitely not like that. But yeah, no, it was impressive. And now I think my dad's gonna have 2 actresses on his hands. So.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what's funny about that is that just out of my younger sister is the theater person in my family, meaning that like ever since she was in, I don't know, probably junior high school or maybe definitely high school. I mean, she was in every play. In college, she minored in theater. She took a bit of a break, kind of getting her career started, but then by the last 5 years, she's gotten heavily back into theater. Right now, she's about to give birth to my new niece in probably a month. So she'll probably take another little break again, but I'll probably have like another one. But it's very strange to actually grow up in a family where there's like the theater kid, and then within like suddenly I'm in something, and then now like, I have my own play. And, unfortunately, she never got to see it, and it's no fault of her own. It's because when she got pregnant, she had like actually a lot of like morning sickness, and she just wasn't able to. Now she's about to give birth, but there will be a time, and so maybe these things do kind of run in the family.
Maybe,
Yeah. Is there anyone in your family who does theater?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think I was going to be doing theater.
True,
so,
right.
But I would say that all of my siblings are very, very artistic.
Yeah. It's we've covered in other podcasts as well that like, but that Shannon's always felt you were an artist though, correct?
Yes,
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
And so like in this way, it's been amazing for you to like start to realize that, through this medium.
Oh yes, very much so, and it feels ever evolving.
Yeah.
Which is great. Yeah.
And Avery, for you, like, I don't know, going forward, do you feel like there's anything that you learned from Soulmate that you feel like you'll take forward, or that you are observing now? anything come to mind around that? Or
I think, if anything, like, it did show my ability to prepare in such short amount of time. I definitely didn't think I could do that. I mean, I did because I knew I had to, I know when I was cast, I think it was a Friday, and then my first rehearsal was Monday, and I went out with my friends that Friday to celebrate, and I told them, like, guys, I cannot stay out that late because I have to be off book by Monday, and they were all like, what the fuck, you'd be off book by Monday? What do you mean? And I was like, it's a quick turnaround, and, you know, I did it, obviously, which I didn't think was going to be like a huge challenge, but it was funny because my first time ever running the scene out loud with anyone, I never even asked my friends to read with me, was on stage with George. So I had never heard the lines outside, like, my head until then. And it went really well.
Isn't it awesome? I know.
We had really good chemistry right off the bat, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And this is also my first time doing a show where I didn't know a single person going in. So it was really cool to, you know, meet a bunch of new people and work with a bunch of new people. And yeah, you know, like Shannon said, it's like, you know, now we're friends and it's great, and I just feel I felt very welcomed, and I feel very at home here now, and yeah, I'm like sad it's ending.
Yeah, I know, we all are.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So I guess, like, you know, I haven't worked with any other cast or anything, but like, how has the experience been for you? I know you mentioned that the other plays that you've been in, you're working with people that you've had worked with before. Yeah. Share a little bit about, like, that, maybe some of the experiences you've had, or how it feels very different from this cast.
Yeah, for sure. I think the show that I was doing last year for like half of the year, I was doing that from July through December. Mercury, I produced that with one of the other actresses in the show, and that's how we became friends. We knew each other kind of before that, but we weren't close, and then that show brought us really close, and now she's like one of my best friends. And that show was such an emotional roller coaster because, again, we were finding the theater and we were finding investors and getting everybody on board, and also casting another part. And I like really loved being in the behind the scenes of that. And then the next show that I did, I liked, but I don't know, I feel like my heart wasn't as in that. And I knew one person in it, and then I had like, I don't know, I didn't like it as much as this. And I think I was a little bit nervous coming into this because there is some intimacy, and I'd had like intimate moments in a play that I had done before where, you know, things were less than ideal, and I was a bit like nervous about that, but it was just the complete opposite of that. Here I spoke about it with both Doug and Shannon, and they were like, girl, whatever you're comfortable with, like this is whatever. And then on like the first day of rehearsals, George said to me, like, I care more about you feeling comfortable and safe than the scene looking good, so if there's anything that makes you uncomfortable, like, tell me immediately. And he always made sure that I was super comfortable and super safe, and I have felt very comfortable and safe the whole time I've been here, which is just fucking amazing to have. Like, and this is just the most, I feel like it's professional, but also like kind of familial. So it's just it's just perfect. It's ideal. I'm so happy to be here, and
that's
everything's been handled just so great. So
thank you so much. That just means so much. I don't know. So the last thing I want to mention is that something that we have been doing too, and we're doing one more tonight. It's our final one, as we've been doing these talkbacks. And it's funny because it wasn't even like our idea, it was actually the idea of our press agent here in New York, who was just trying to come up with like new angles, but he got very excited too because he has led a very alternative lifestyle in like the gay community, and he just like was excited that Shannon and I were very open to talk about just stuff that is not usually talked about. The play was bringing up stuff that's not usually talked about. So yeah, we've been doing these talkbacks called Sex with a Soulmate, where we just like open up to a bunch of different subjects that are usually taboo. And I want to know, I feel like everyone in the cast, I just kind of like threw you guys into it. It's like here, show up and like see what happens. And then I start like listing the stuff, and then we see where the conversation goes. I was just wondering what's been your experience with that, and
with the talkbacks?
Yeah.
I haven't spoken very much in them, if I'm being honest. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
But I like listening to everyone else's answers. Honestly, I feel like I've learned a lot about other people. Like Shannon, there was one night that you were talking about kind of how you got into polyamory, which was really interesting for me to hear about, because I've also had, you know, a journey with polyamory that started, I think, when I was 21. So it was interesting to hear about somebody else's kind of journey and perspectives on that, because our experiences were very different. And yeah, I don't know, I like hearing everybody talking. I've also loved everything that you've said about, you know, I've learned so much about you and how this show came to be, and, you know, I guess the sequence in which you wrote it as well, and what your inspirations were, which as an actor I love learning about, you know, how my project came to be. So
yeah. And I like sharing too. I mean, like it's just side conversations with Avery. I mean, we're always talking about, like, I'm a bit curious about how you've come up with, you know, done your shows and experiences you've had. And yeah, I mean, just us being here in New York has just been such a crazy learning experience. And but yeah, I encourage you to our last talk back, we'll try to, is there any subject that you'd want to, that you'd be like into talking about?
I don't know. I mean, anything having to do with my character. I can talk about polyamory. Honestly, I think most of the things on the list I feel like I could talk about. Some of them I was so like, oh, I don't even know what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we could ask as well. Yeah. That's amazing. But I mean, just the fact that, like, we could all be up there, be so comfortable, have our own backgrounds, our own things that we're bringing to it. It's made those discussions the best.
Yes.
Like, yeah. How have you felt about it?
Yeah, no, I definitely feel like it's been so fun just kind of getting everyone's perspective or understanding or like background when it comes to like relationships or just experiences like that about love. Yeah, I feel like in some of the last talkbacks I was mentioning how I don't think that like polyamory is very uncommon in like performer circles. I feel like it makes sense, you know. I think to myself that it makes sense. Not that I'm saying all performers or entertainers are like polyamorous, but it's like, just imagine like you're married to someone for however many years, and then, you know, that person has to go and film for a year, like away. Like, I think that it like makes sense. Or if you're like in a band and you're like touring all the time, you know, like that doesn't mean that you can't have relationships. But I think that, yeah, it always depends on, you know, each person and how they navigate.
Yeah. What's interesting, what you're saying is almost that, like, a certain lifestyle can lead to, like, like it's consistent with that lifestyle as well,
yes.
I guess, right?
Yes.
So
and I'm not,
sense.
Again, like I said, I'm not saying that all entertainers are polyamorous, but it makes sense in the lifestyle of, like, you know, people touring, people going and filming for a year. It's like, how are you going to navigate those situations and those needs? And I'm not saying that everybody needs to do that, but
I was going to say also just the fact that, like even if you're not being like intimate with someone, which you are sometimes, you know, in an acting role, but just what we're talking about, the intimacy too, just kind of like being in a cast and just that shared experience, it's very intimate as well.
It is.
And then having to like have that end and then begin again with someone else, and it's just it's very, I mean, it's been hard on me as I've done many plays, and I know it's probably hard on all of us, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially for me, because it's doing theater and acting is like so new for me that, like, when I do have intimate scenes with someone or work on that with them and build that with them during the run, that when it's time for them to go, I really do feel like, oh no. I'm like, oh no, I'm never gonna kiss them again or hug them the way I did, and it's kind of funny.
It's not funny.
I need to not be so like method with it, you know.
I know. Anyway, so we got to get ready for our second to last performance now, and so I'll leave it there. So thank you so much, Avery, for joining us, and we're just so grateful for you and so grateful for you to this run, and looking forward to more exciting things together. And
me too.
So thank you.
Thank you. Very grateful to be here.
All right, so that's it, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.